Josip Simunic was a Croatian player in the World Cup. He featured in the 2006 World Cup. This is the only player who has ever been booked 3 times without being sent off. He was booked 3 times in the World Cup 2006. He holds the record alone. He's the only player to be booked thrice without being sent off. He's called Josip Simunic. He's a Croatian. Another record in the World Cup. I'm talking about the records which will not be easily broken in the World Cup history. A striker called Oleg Salenko. He was a Russian striker who featured in the 1994 US World Cup. He's the only player who has ever scored 5 goals in a single match. He was called Oleg Salenko. He even ended up being the top scorer in that tournament, US 1994 World Cup. Don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe as we move on. This is Kabaka Babadi Live, always with the updates, with the greatest records, with everything as far as the game is concerned. The youngest player to play in the final of the World Cup is nobody other than Pele. Pele played in the 1958 World Cup final at 17 years and 249 days. He is the youngest player to play in a World Cup final, and is the youngest player ever to win the World Cup. That is Pele. There is a coach called Carlos Alberto Pereira. This one holds a record of being a coach in 6 World Cups. Actually, he's the only coach who has been in 6 World Cups as a coach. We all remember him in 1994 winning the World Cup with Brazil. He trained countries like Kuwait, United Arab Emirates, South Africa in 2010 World Cup, and everything, all that kind of stuff. So he's the only manager he's the only coach to represent a nation as a coach in 6 World Cups. The only player who has scored most goals in a World Cup tournament, not a World Cup match, but a tournament, is called Justin Fontaine. This was a French guy who featured in the 1958 World Cup and scored 13 goals in that World Cup. So he's the only player, he holds that record of the most goals in a single World Cup tournament. The fastest goal in the World Cup history comes through a great striker who was called Hakan Şükür. This was a Turkish guy who scored this goal in the 2002 World Cup as they were playing South Korea for the 3rd place. They were looking for the 3rd place winner. It was a game between Turkey and South Korea in 2002 World Cup, and the goal came in 10.8 seconds. Imagine, in just 10.8 seconds, this guy had already scored a goal. So he holds the record of scoring the fastest goal in the World Cup history ever. The most assists in the World Cup history ever are held by Pele, the Brazilian legend, who has 10 assists. There is no other player in the World Cup history who has ever made 10 assists. Only Pele, the Brazilian, holds the record. Paolo Maldini, an Italian player, a former Italian football player, holds the record of featuring in 4 World Cups without missing any single minute. Can you imagine 4 World Cups without missing any single minute? Any single minute. He holds the record of 2,216 minutes altogether. 4 World Cups without missing any single minute. That is Paolo Maldini, 2,216 minutes. The veteran striker in the World Cup history is an African man from Cameroon called Roger Milla. This guy scored a goal in the World Cup 1994, which was in America, in the USA. He scored a goal at 42 years and 39 days, Roger Milla. Remember, he was breaking his own record, which he set in 1990, Italia 90, where he scored a goal at 39 years. So he broke his own record in 1994 World Cup, scoring a goal at 42 years and 39 days. The oldest player to play, the oldest player to play in a World Cup game is a guy from Egypt. He's a guy from Egypt, that old man from Egypt. He was even a goalkeeper. He was called Essam El Hadari. He played in the World Cup, 2018 World Cup, which was held in Russia, and even saved the penalty in that World Cup. If you remember, he was 45 years. So he's the oldest player to feature in a World Cup tournament or a World Cup game. He's called Isam El Hadari. There is a Mexican player who's called Rafael Marquez. This one holds a big record, a huge record in the game as far as World Cup is concerned. This guy, Rafael Marquez, he was the only guy to captain a team or to captain his nation in 5 major World Cup tournaments. He started to be a captain of Mexico in 2002. He was a captain. So in 5 major tournaments, he was a captain of Mexico in 5 World Cup major tournaments. This guy holds that record. At 23 years, he was already captain, up to 39 years. So 2002 was his first World Cup. Then 2006, 2010, 2014, and 2018. So those are the 5 World Cups where he was a captain of Mexico, and he holds the record alone. There is no other player who has ever been a captain for his nation or for his team in the World Cup in 5 World Cup tournaments. Only Rafael Marquez, a Mexican guy, holds that record. Now the most attended match in the World Cup history ever. This highest attended match was in the 1958 World Cup final. It was on 16th July 1958 in Maracana. It is believed that this game, it accumulated almost up to 210,000 people. Though some sites say it was 199,854 and others say it was 173,850. However, it's regarded as the most attended game, single game in the World Cup history. Finally, the highest attended, I'm not saying that this is the final record, but for this session, the highest attended tournament in the World Cup history was the 1994 World Cup, whereby the spectators were around 3,587,538 spectators across the 52 matches which were played in that World Cup. On average, the spectators were 68,991 spectators per game. So this is the most or the highest attended tournament ever, the US 1994. Stay with me, Kabaka Babadi. I'll be updating you every history, every record in the World Cup, every record here. Just don't forget to subscribe, comment, like, and share. Kabaka Babadi.